Hey guys, my name is Tito. I make videos on personal finance on my other channel. On this channel, I talk about other things, like today when I'll be reviewing the new Nollywood film, Criminal. Now, in usual fashion, this review will contain spoilers, so be warned. Criminal came out in cinemas, I think, in May, but now it's on streaming. That said, let's dive into the performances. Uzor Arukwe plays this desperate and dangerous criminal who takes control of this hospital in order to get medical treatment for his brother, and Uzor Arukwe did a fantastic job. When this film came out in cinemas a few months ago, people kept on talking about, or what I kept on hearing, was how good Uzor Arukwe was in the film. So when I saw the film, I was really looking forward to his performance, and he did not disappoint. Dare I say, this was a top 10 Uzor Arukwe performance. He was just so believable as this frustrated criminal, this man of the underworld who shoots first and takes names later, or doesn't even just think things through, right? And the fact that he was speaking Igbo with the members of his gang made it that more believable and enjoyable. Funlola Aofiyebi-Raimi, she plays Dr. Amara in this film. Let me preface this first of all by saying that Funlola Aofiyebi-Raimi is a really good actress on a good day, right? She's a fantastic actress. However, in this film, it didn't feel like anything new, came from her in this role, right? Typically in her movies, she plays this very assertive, headstrong female character, and she was no different in this movie. The only difference was that she wore a lab coat and doctor scrubs and had a stethoscope in this one. But aside from that, if you've seen her in other films, you've seen her in this film, or you've seen this character that she's played before. And I feel like that hurt the film. It worked against the movie. They should have developed that character a bit more. We should have been able to see the story or the incident through the eyes of Dr. Amara as well, rather than just through the eyes of Uzor's character and his brother was unconscious. We pretty much just saw it from Uzor's perspective. Seeing that Dr. Amara was sort of instrumental in, redeeming the situation, and it was her hospital and all that, it would have been nice to have seen things from her perspective as well, and for her to have had a bit more character and a bit more development, but we just didn't get to see that from Dr. Amara. Let's talk about Austin Onoha, who plays Chima, the brother of Uzor's character. The brotherly chemistry was there, I believe. Moving from him, let's talk about Chuks Joseph and Brian Okoye, the other two members of the robbery gang. They were really good as well. The physical acting and the aggression and them playing criminals, they were very believable in that regard. And the roles or the performances were slightly physical, so I appreciated that. And the fact that the gang kept on speaking in Igbo and everything, it felt very authentic. Finally, Tai Arimoro, who plays Officer Bade in the film. Honestly, that character lacked gravitas. For the role that he plays in the situation and, essentially getting the hostages free and bringing the situation under control. He's very instrumental in that. He's essentially the hero of the film, but he doesn't feel like much of a hero. He seemed to lack some form of gravitas. He didn't seem like like a character that I had confidence in. He didn't really look like he had a plan. He did have a plan, but it didn't look like he had a plan. There was just something lacking there. And again, I think that character could have done with a bit more development or his own story, because that would have helped us, to align with him or to support him more as he's trying to save these people and bring the situation under control. So not necessarily a fault of Tai Arimoro in terms of his performance. I would say it's more of a fault of how that character was written, and they didn't really do that character that many favors. Plus, it didn't help that seeing that he was shot at the end of the film, but he doesn't die. That felt like I would have respected the character more if he was killed at the end of the film, if I'm being honest. What I liked. You see, there's something called the money shot, which is like a signature shot or a frame that the filmmaker wants you to remember once you're done seeing the movie, right? And not too many Nollywood films have money shots, in my opinion, but this one did. And for me, that was the scene where Uzor Arukwe's character, shoots into the ceiling and the camera is at a low angle and he says, "Everybody down." And that was like typical for like a heist or a robbery or a hostage situation type of scene. And I really liked that low angle that they took it from. So that was the money shot in my opinion, and I liked that. What I didn't like, I think in their excitement of making a hostage drama set in a hospital, the filmmakers overlooked a number of things, and these things ended up leaving lots of questions in the minds of audience members like myself. For example, why on earth would Chima go to where the stolen truck was all by himself? Because if you remember, Uzor, the truck is stolen from Uzor, even though he staged it. He calls his brother Chima. Chima tracks where the truck is and goes to the location of the truck. A truck that was stolen at, or yeah, taken at gunpoint and everything. He goes there by himself. Why? In the middle of the night. What did he expect to happen? They should have at least written it in the story that Chima calls the police and the police say, oh, we can't make it, we don't have fuel, or we'll get there when we get there, something like that. And then he now takes it upon himself to go and, intervene. But even if he does go to where the truck was, where the criminals take the truck to, shouldn't he have maintained a safe distance? Why would he go and engage, even if he didn't know? Even if it was his brother, or he didn't know it was his brother that staged the whole thing. Why would he go and engage? What was his plan? That did not make any sense whatsoever. Officer Bade going in disguise with the blood in the cooler, and first of all, why didn't they check the cooler? They search him. Why don't they search the cooler to make sure the blood is there, to see what's in the cooler? Oversight on their part, but also that didn't make sense. But what raised a huge question in my mind concerning Officer Bade getting into the hospital was why they took an additional hostage. Because they didn't need an additional hostage. They didn't place any kind of premium on having more hostages in the hospital in terms of maybe using the hostages to secure their release or something like that, or to secure safe passage at the end of the day. So why did they take on an additional hostage? They should have just taken the cooler of blood and sent the delivery guy, aka Officer Bade, on his way. Why did they take on an additional hostage? For what? Also, and still kind of tied to Officer Bade, why were they so hesitant to kill Uzor? Officer Bade kills the other two gang members really, really quickly, no questions asked. But the main guy, and I think the only person who actually kills hostages in the hospital, why was he so hesitant to kill that guy? And even the other cops. Why? What was the big deal? And the whole thing with him being stabbed with the sedative thing, or the thing that weakened his muscles or numbed his muscles, and then he saunters all the way from upstairs with with police following him, escorting him. They follow him. They could have subdued him at any point. Instead, they follow him to the driveway so that they can have that elaborate scene where they all, pop the guy together, which is what the filmmaker wanted to do. They just wanted that scene. How they got to that scene, it seems like they didn't really give much thought to, because it did not make any sense whatsoever. How they got from upstairs where he's stabbed with the sedative thing and the police follow him all the way to the driveway. No sense whatsoever. He could have been subdued. That's even if they did not, because they had multiple chances to shoot the guy. Now, let me come to Dr. Amara. I think my biggest issue with the film was Dr. Amara and how bold she was in the face of danger and death. Because from the point where she comes down and sees that her hospital is under siege, and she sees her dead security guard and her doctor employee who has been beaten to a pulp, there's no fear, no trepidation at any point. From that point on, all the way to the end, she's bold and she's brazen in the face of death. Why? How? Based on what? Is it that she had some serious faith in God or something, or some kind of spirituality or whatever? Or did she have military training? There was no explanation for why Dr. Amara was so calm and so brazen in the face of all of that. Even Captain Phillips, the Tom Hanks film from a few years ago, Tom Hanks' character was afraid. We saw it. He got beaten up once or twice in the film by the pirates, but he saved the day. Why was Dr. Amara so brazen in the face of everything? And we don't even really see her advocating for the hostages, right? Because in films like this, we see the hero or the protagonist negotiating with the antagonist to let some of the hostages go, or to, some bargaining happens, right? That lets us believe that the protagonist is a hero and is selfless and whatnot. I don't think we saw that. I don't recall seeing or hearing that regarding Dr. Amara, yet at the end of the film, when she comes down the stairs, they are clapping for her. Not just that one time, but apparently it's been happening for days since the incident. So Dr. Amara was very problematic for me in this film, and how she was written And like I said, maybe in their excitement of making this film, this hostage drama, they overlooked developing these things in the story and these characters, right? There was one more thing that just crossed my mind, but I've forgotten. Oh yes, at the beginning of the film, when the criminals take over the hospital and Uzor is calling Dr. Amara's name all over the place. Isn't this Dr. Amara's hospital? How does he know, or how did he know Dr. Amara? Because it gave the impression that he had heard about her, maybe she's a big-time doctor, or they had encountered each other in the past or something, but they don't explain that. Even Dr. Amara herself doesn't ask the guy, how do you know who I am? So what was all the fuss about? Honestly, the writing in this film for me was very problematic. Very problematic. Sorry, I stand corrected. Dr. Amara actually did fight for that one patient that was giving birth while the hostage situation was happening to ensure that she delivered safely, right? But what about all the other hostages and all the other patients in the hospital? She didn't really do much for them, in my opinion. In conclusion, this movie, I don't think it dotted its I's or crossed its T's, and as a result, the film was quite forgettable for me. This movie could have done with a lot better writing and more character development. It could have been a much better film with a bit more intentionality. In conclusion, this movie gets 1.5 jollofs over 5 from me. Guys, if you've seen Criminal, let me know what you thought about it in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed this review, please do me a favor and like it by clicking on the like button just underneath the video, and subscribe to my channel as well by clicking on the black subscribe button. On this channel, I don't just do Nollywood movie reviews. Sometimes I talk about other things. To check out some of my past reviews, you can click the card in the corner of the screen. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will catch you in the next review. Take care. Like and subscribe.